Good day to my brothers in the bond. I'm Brother Mark Griffin, and today I want to share with you from the Gospel of Luke, the 22nd chapter, verses 24 through 27, where we find these words, and this is from the New King James Version of the Bible. Now, there was also a dispute among them as to which of them should be considered the greatest. And he said to them, the kings of the Gentiles exercise lordship over them, and those who exercise authority over them are called benefactors. But not so among you. On the contrary, he who is greatest among you, let him be as the younger, and he who governs as he who serves. For who is greater, he who sits at the table or he who serves? Is it not he who sits at the table? Yet I am among you as the one who serves. And I want to just leave this thought with us for the next couple of moments, called to serve. Now, this passage of Scripture is a very interesting passage of Scripture where after Jesus has had the Last Supper with the disciples as he prepares to go back to his Father in heaven, he teaches them a very interesting but a very valuable lesson on his way out. And there are a couple of things with the time I have that I want to lift up to you. First of all, what we understand from this text is that, number one, people follow greatness. People follow greatness. And we find it here in the Luke, the 22nd chapter, verses 1 and 2 says this. Now the feast of the unleavened bread was near, which was called Passover. And the chief priests and the scribes sought how they might kill him, for they feared the people. They wanted to kill Jesus, but they knew they could not just up and do it because they feared the people, because Jesus was great and the people followed him. And so understand that people follow greatness. But secondly, I also want you to know that greatness is not determined by a title. Verse number 25 of our text says this, and he said to them, the kings of the Gentiles exercise lordship over them, and those who exercise authority over them are called benefactors. He talks about how in the Gentile world, titles were important, but yet just because one has a title does not necessarily make them great. So you might ask, what makes one great? Thirdly and finally, I want to emphasize and lift up to us tonight that greatness comes from service. And Jesus himself in verses 26 and 27, he sets the example for service. He says this, but not so among you. On the contrary, he who is greatest among you, let him be the younger, and he who governs as he who serves. For who is greater, he who sits at the table or he who serves? Is it not he who sits at the table? And then listen at what Jesus says. Yet I am among you as the one who serves. So what made Jesus great was not titles, but what made him great was how he served people. He served the blind. He served the lame. He served the hungry. And brothers, that's what he wants us to understand as we progress through this Holy Week. If we're to be great, it's going to be based on our serving. We are all called to serve. I want to share a poem with you that I saw that I thought would really sum up what the Lord expects from us as his servants. The poem goes like this. The master was searching for a vessel to use. On the shelf there were many. Which one would he choose? Take me, cried the gold one. I'm shiny and bright. I'm of great value, and I do things just right. My beauty and luster will outshine the rest, and for someone like you, master, gold would be the best. Unheeding, the master passed on to the brass. It was wide-mouthed and shallow, and polished like glass. Here, here, cried the vessel, I know I will do. Place me on your table for all men to view. Look at me, called the goblet of crystal so clear. My transparency shows my contents so clear. Though I am fragile, I will serve you with pride, and I'm sure I'll be happy your house to abide. The master came next to a vessel of wood, polished and carved, it solidly stood. You may use me, dear master, the wooden bowl said, but I'd rather you use me for fruit, not for bread. Then the master looked down and saw a vessel of clay, empty and broken, it helplessly lay. No hope had the vessel that the master might choose, to cleanse and make whole, to fill and to use. Ah, this is the vessel I've been hoping to find. I'll mend and use it and make it all mine. I need not the vessel with pride of itself, nor the one who is narrow to sit on the shelf, nor the one who is big-mouthed and shallow and loud, nor one who displays his contents so proud, not the one who thinks he can do all things just right, but this plain earthly vessel filled with my power and might. Then gently he lifted the vessel of clay, mended and cleansed it and filled it that day. Spoke to it kindly, there's work you must do. Just pour out to others as I pour into you. Brothers, we are called to serve.